Welcome back to First Take. The Detroit Tigers continued their free fall last night, losing 5-1 to the Guardians. They now are in second in the AL Central after having a 15.5 game lead in July. Meanwhile, the New York Mets once had the best record in baseball, but now have just a one-game lead on the final wild card spot after last night's loss to the Chicago Cubs. Guess who's making a special appearance on this Thursday morning? Doggy Dog himself, the one and only Mad Dog Russo. Now, before I get to the questions, Doggy, I know you're not in studio. You're at home in your palatial estate and all this. You could have put on some makeup. You could have combed your hair. What's that about? You know you're doing television, right?
I actually think the hair, Stevie, looks decent for a change, 100%.
Oh my Lord.
But, for you, I figured I'd give you the nice green shirt. I thought it looked halfway decent for a Thursday afternoon. And the one thing, keep in mind, I'm going to say, remember, the Mets and the Tigers, they're getting a couple of breaks because Houston is losing in the American League, which means the Tigers still could get a wild card spot even if they lose a division.
Right.
And the Mets with the Reds and Arizona losing last night could get a wild spot despite their free fall. So they're getting some help from teams behind them. I want to make sure I throw that at you there. I know you know that. The audience, it gets a little complicated. The audience may not know that.
That's important. That. I appreciate the education. Let me ask you this, though. What's the worst collapse? Is it the Tigers or is it the Mets?
Stevie, I'm going to say the Mets because of their payroll. When you have a $350 million payroll, you brought Soto in for $800 million. Last year, you go all the way to the NLCS and play well against LA. You're 45-34. You got a 5.5 game lead in the NL East in middle of June. And here it is right now. You're playing for your life with 4 games to go. Not to win the division, not to be the first wild card or the second wild card, to be the third wild card. That is really a disaster. Miami will give the Mets a lot of trouble this weekend. If the Reds or Diamondbacks can win some games here in the next 4, put a little pressure on them, I think that Met collapse is an absolute disaster. Think about it, Stevie. They got a $350 million payroll. They brought in Soto. And Soto left the Yankees because he thought the Mets had a better future. And here it is, the Thursday before the end of the season. They're not in the playoffs yet. They're 3 games.
No. Hold on.
That's ridiculous.
15.5 game lead? 15.5 games?
For Detroit.
Damn. That's pretty damn bad. And by the way, the Detroit Tigers are collapsing before our very eyes in an American League that's considered wide open. At least when I look at the Mets, I say, damn, the Dodgers are in that conference. The Padres are in that conference. Milwaukee is in that conference. The Phillies with Schwarber, they are in that conference. And we know they've had some problem with their pitching, which means they overwork their bullpen. But you see young guys like McLean and Spout and Tong, and you're looking at the New York Mets and you're saying, hey, even though they're struggling, we can understand it. If they get in, it's a different animal. I don't know how you could say the Mets are worse of a collapse than the Detroit Tigers.
Well, listen, I understand that, but when you have a $350 million payroll, Stevie, geez, and now you're fighting the Reds to get to the 6th spot. The Tiger issue is the ownership, and the general manager, Chris Harris, did an awful job at the deadline. The team was 59-35. They were 25 games over 500. They had a chance with Scrooble, the big pitcher, to make a lot of noise in the postseason, and they added nobody of significance. They didn't spend any money. They didn't try to go out there and have an opportunity with their window opening to win a championship. At least the Mets spend money, and they try. So we know that. But still, Steve, $360 million payroll, 21 games over 500 on June 15th, bringing Soto in, and here it is with 4 days to go in the season. They're not in the playoffs yet. That is ridiculous. Let's call it like we see it. That is ridiculous.
Let me transition to another subject because we only got a few minutes left. I want to know in your eyes what's more impressive: Cal Raleigh hitting 60 homers or Aaron Judge reaching a 50 home run plateau for the 4th time in his career? What do you find most impressive?
Now, I'm going to say Raleigh, Steve, and I think he should win the MVP. Judge might get it because he's got the batting championship and he's Judge. But Raleigh's got 60 home runs as a catcher. Think about it. He's a switch-hitting catcher with 60 homers. The record prior to this for a catcher was Salvador Perez Bench hit 45 when he won the MVP in 70. He's got 15 more than bench. I mean, this guy's had an incredible season. And he's a gold glove catcher with a good pitching staff. He's got a call a game and everything else. So I'm going to say, to me, and he's got 100 and whatever it is, he leads the league in RBIs. I know his batting average isn't great. But to me, Steve, based on the debilitating aspect of the position that he plays, Judge can play some outfield. He DH'd a little bit. And so can Raleigh DH. And he DH'd 30-something games. I still think Raleigh with the home runs as a catcher is more impressive. That's
so it's more impressive. And if you had to give an MVP for the American League, it would be him. It would be him.
I would.
Who would it be in the National League?
Listen, I would vote Schwarber. Everybody thinks it's going to be Ohtani, and this, he's got the 50 homers, and Ohtani's this, Ohtani's that. I mean, Schwarber's had an incredible year. Yes, I know he's a DH. Yes, I know he's got a big lineup, small ballpark. I understand that. But I love Schwarber. And if Ohtani wins it every year, I'd give it to somebody else. Now, Ohtani will win. I think Raleigh's got a good chance. I think Ohtani will win because he also pitches some. And the young writer loves Ohtani. They can't get enough of him. And so they're going to overlook Schwarber. If I had a vote, which I don't, I would vote for the Philadelphia DH. That's crazy because he's not an everyday player, but I would vote for Schwarber myself.
Everybody, last thing to you, everybody thinks the American League is wide open where the Dodgers, where the National League is the Dodgers for the Dodgers to lose. I happen to think the National League is wide open as well. I think if the Mets got in, they could beat the Dodgers.
I think now, if you pick two teams to get to the World Series, you can pick them out of a hat. Seattle's playing great. They got good pitching. Dodgers have no bullpen. That concerns you. Philadelphia has a tendency not to hit in the middle of October. They haven't won a championship in these last 4 years. That worries your son. The Yankees, they beat bad teams, not as good on good teams. That would bother you. Toronto's not playing well right now. That concerns you. Milwaukee has no major player that's going to dominate a series. That would worry me too. And they have a history of not getting the job done in October. It's wide open, Steve. You got 12 teams. Listen, I don't think the Reds are winning a championship, so I can eliminate I don't know if the Cubs will.